Hello there. Hello there.
Calorie intake recommended. New creature discovered.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Alright, that should be working. I should have checked that setting. Pro tip, check your settings. Thanks, Tiny. My OBS did an update, and apparently it changed my mic. Alright, let's go back to it. So, what I was saying while my mic wasn't working was we're going to jump back into some Subnautica here. This is the second, well, technically this is the second version of Subnautica, or whichever you would like to call it. There's the first Subnautica that I played, which is why I'm not doing. There's nothing wrong with that. And I should have known it was going to do that, because every time it does that to me and I forget. But it happens. I learned something to check for the next time. But this is technically the second, I believe it's the second Subnautica game. I believe it takes place after
Vital signs stabilizing.
After the first Subnautica, but it's not the second in order, meaning that later in the year, Subnautica 2 actually comes out. And that Subnautica will actually have multiplayer, which I am not going to lie, I am looking forward to. Because it seems like it's going to be a fun game. Alright, let's see, what do we got? Okay, so I got so I have 5 more pieces of salt. Let's go get 5 more, some type of fish. I don't know what we're gonna get. We're gonna get whatever I grab. I just do not want to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Don't want to pick up the grab trap, because every time I pick up the grab trap, the fish escape. And I have a tendency of doing that. Alright. So we are going to cure some more fish so I don't run out of, so I don't starve while we're out exploring. Go. Now let's take a look here real quick because I also want to see if what I need to rebuild that because okay, so that's the fabrication module that I destroyed. All right, so we'll worry about that. What the hell was that? Just sounded like something hit me in here. I don't know what it. The hell? That's new. All right, let's go. Let's get moving. And see what happens. All right, where is... All right, there's my sea truck. All right, so it's decent on battery, and I can not have to worry about breathing down here. All right, I think we're gonna have to make a quick change. Apparently, it's a little too loud, I think. Where's audio settings? Turn that back up and we can adjust if needed. Alright. It was a little too loud for my liking. Alright, so attachable sea truck module for fabricating tools and equipment. We'll have to eventually remake that because I destroyed it because I hit it with the sea truck when it dropped from the vehicle build station. All right, right now, let's see, where was I? That one I'm not worried about. I don't remember which one of these we've already been to. I think it was the green one. So we're going to try to head toward the blue one and find it. I haven't been able to find it. I've been getting lost trying to find it. But we're going to keep moving and try. But to recap here a little bit, and these are cool. These are sea monkeys. They actually bring you resources and whatnot while you're swimming. That was actually helpful because they brought me some stuff I was looking for. Oh, and this can only go 150. All right, well, we'll go 150 then. We just got to keep an eye on it because any lower, it will be damaged. So we may end up swimming it too. One of the cool things is there's the oxygen pieces there, which allow you to, get oxygen while you're traveling. Thing is that right, well, we're almost at 150 meters, I think, so we're gonna have to... Now I think I've already been to this one, but we're gonna find out. But yeah, one of the cool things about this is this here actually replenishes your oxygen while you're traveling. I don't need that. Did I? We don't need the building tool right now, so... But we do want to keep the bladder thing. Because if I end up in a pinch and I can see the sky, it'll like eject me or jet me up to the top of the water. I don't know if I've already been to one of these. It might have been... Shit, need to move. Okay, I also forgot to bring health with me. I don't think I can... Well, I know I can't craft any health yet. Gonna grab these. So that will come in handy later. I just hope that, you know, my sea truck is safe where it's at, because if it gets destroyed, it's going to be a lot of farming to get resources. Again. Or we'll just have to reload and start over. Because it took me like 6 hours to get the 6 hours to farm all the resources to build it, I believe. We're also gonna run the risk of running out of air here, so we're gonna be ready just in case. I don't see any oxygen plants at the moment. Okay, so this is going to be more titanium because I've already got that. And same thing here. Now, I don't know why I'm not using this to make my life easier. We were going toward green one. Right?
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Alright. Shit, I didn't bring health with me and I don't know what just hit me. I can't stay up here for long though. Because in this game, we've also got the cold water, the cold weather. Because this is an ice planet. Or a snowy planet. So we have additional stuff that can kill us here. I don't think it's going to be down here. And there's another one of those exploding ones. Okay, actually it might be. I just have to be careful because of the lava. And to make sure I don't run out of air. Biggest problem with me with games like this is underwater stuff actually throws me off. It makes it hard for me to keep my sense of direction. Like right now I'm lost. I still can't find that green spot. Like I know it's down. And supposedly I'm close to it. I just don't know where. Trying to see if I can find... Oh, that's the wrong way. That was just the way I came. Because exploring under the water here is very, very challenging for sense of direction, at least for me. Not sure if anyone else goes through that, but I do.
New creature discovered.
What new creature? Alright. I found it. Probably. That's not what I have to do. What do I have to do with it? Oh, sounds good. Enjoy your food, you know. I'll be here for a while tonight. I plan on... I don't know how far we're gonna go. But thanks for hanging out and thanks for the alert. Alright, so I found it. but it doesn't, I can't do anything with it. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You've got something for me. I can get you to give it to me. Alright. So this is going to end up having to be a come back later type thing because I can't do anything with it. So let's try not. Oh, good. Oxygen plant. Because I was about to drown because I have no air. Alright, let's see. So we kind of found it, but it doesn't matter because I don't know what to do with it right now. I can't scan it, I can't activate it, so it tells me I have to come back to that later. Actually, we might surface here and just take a look at something before we fully move away. Alright, let's see. This isn't what I wanted. I'm not sure. Let's see here.
Dangerous weather approaching. Seek shelter.
Right, can't do it from here. Where is... I have a beacon with me. No, I don't.
Seek
All
fuel
right.
intake.
It's fine. I should have grabbed a beacon.
Vital signs stabilizing.
Alright, so we're gonna head back to the sea truck. And then since we know... Let's see, what can I use as a frame of reference here? Really, there's not much I can use as a frame of reference except for the creep vine. Which, that's common. I should have brought a beacon with me. Oh well, we'll get it on the next run. Which I still don't know what to do there, so... We'll head back to the sea truck, we'll get a beacon. And we'll just keep moving. So once I get back to the sea truck, I can look and see what I can do. Because I can't stay above the surface because I'll drown, I'll freeze. Can't stay... where okay. Can't stay under the surface and in the menu because I will run out of air. Alright, where... Now that we're in here, I can take a look through some things and try to figure out what to do. Let's see. So I misplaced a capital ship. That's kind of important. Some death. Okay, so Sam is the AI, which has incorporated my body, if I'm not mistaken. No, actually, I'm probably wrong.
4546.
I am wrong.
Come in, Robin. Remember when we used to play old-timey Space Explorer? This is kind of like that, but it's even harder to communicate. Well, let's see. I got your last message. Altera is not, as you put it, alterrorizing me. Things are going well. My project has a new name. Say goodbye to the mechanical avian amphibian, and hello to spy penguins. We're training the bots to mimic the creatures. Check out the photo. And I think I'm kind of seeing someone. I know it's not like me to just find a date, let alone on a mostly uninhabited water planet, but actually, you know what? Forget I said anything. Yeah, it's probably not even a real thing, but anyway, I'm sorry to hear Xenoworks might be strapped in the revenue department.
Interesting.
Sounds like they still have you busy Xeno working, though. I know there's no way to guarantee an alien intelligence startup will succeed, but you've put so much into it. I hope they find a way to keep going. I know how much it means to you, getting to work at a small place where you have control over your research. All right, I gotta go. Later, baby sis. Love you.
Alright, so that doesn't help me with what I'm supposed to do next. Doesn't tell me. Okay, so it looks like this is what I just found. Most likely, which was the water analysis station. Maybe. Okay, but it doesn't tell me what I'm supposed to do with it. To determine the chemical components. Testing levels for bacteria in water. Okay, that's fine. So for now, I think what's going to be best for now is that we work on. What is it? I don't have that, so that's a storage module. I can't do that. Let's try to work on the depth module so we can see if we can go further. And since it's only got one, that might more might unlock as we move forward with finding other tech. Okay, so there are two more. Okay, so we are actually going to eventually be able to go quite deep. All right, let's head back to. Actually, let's just take a look around real quick. Alright, that's fine. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to head back. Where are we heading back to? The pod. As soon as I can find the pod. The sea truck here is weird. It's. And the sensitivity is a little weird. Getting used to how it handles, rather. I know what that is. That's not going to do me any good. It's, what is it? And I actually need to build the repair tool if I can, because I'm going to destroy, I'm going to destroy this if I don't. But I need to, build the depth module, see if I can go deeper, build the repair module. Basically, I gotta figure out everything that it can do still at this one, because everything here is kind of new. Alright, so to make the ingots, I think I just need titanium to make that. I have to look. I do not remember. Okay, I also need lithium, which I don't think I have lithium, so I can get the titanium, but I don't think I have any lithium, so it means I'm gonna have to explore for that. I know I can get the emerald glass, I'm pretty sure.
Seek fluid intake.
Yeah, I don't have any lithium in here, at least.
Vital signs stabilizing.
Alright. We're gonna go ahead and stash the rest of you. We'll keep you with us for now. Alright. Let's see, was there any quart? No, no glass in there.
I have something important to share.
Another artifact.
Yes, although
You cannot know for sure what it is, but it is certainly of significant import. I know.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
Hey, Good stuff. We got a new artifact thing we can go track down. We are going to need to go get some more food and resources. Food for this, though.
Welcome aboard.
Do I have any... That'll get me the stuff I need to make glass. Alright. I don't think I'm going to have any lithium in here. Or lithium. Is it lithium? Yeah, lithium. Alright, so that being said, can I make the repair tool yet? I can. Well, no, I can't make the repair tool because I don't have any crystalline sulfur. That's new. You didn't used to need that for the repair tool as far as I remember. So, that being said, we're going to have to find some sulfur. Also going to need some more lithium for that, so we need at least 4 pieces of lithium. Alright, so for now, let's just... We can turn you off for now. We'll go ahead and we'll go craft the emerald glass while we have it. While we've got the quartz to do so. And then we will go ahead and make our way toward the other beacon. Or the other marker and see what we got. Alright, so we got the glass. Let's put the glass away. Now, do I have any... Cook you. I need to get more fish for water before I leave, though. Let's see. Can I stash any more in here? Good. We're gonna go stash this in here. And then we're gonna get some more fish for the trip. For water, that is, because we have plenty of cooked fish. Well, we should have plenty of cooked fish. I have to be really careful though with this vehicle because I can't get a repair tool for a while. You're the fish I want. I want at least 4 of you. Because I really need the, need water. Alright, let's keep moving. What do we got? Alright, so we have 5 you plus you we can cook. We're gonna go ahead and do that, and then we're gonna see what we can do about health here real quick in a minute too. I gotta remember what I need to make health though. Make as much water as we can. Alright, we're gonna cook you, and then we're not gonna eat you because we don't need to eat you yet. But we are gonna drink some of you. Alright, what do I need to make a med kit? Let's see, I do not remember. Fiber mesh. Alright, do I have any fiber mesh? Silicone rubber. You need to make fiber mesh. I don't remember. I think it's just creep vine. Yep. Do I have any creep vine in here? Those are the seed clusters. That's not going to work, I don't think. No. Alright. Let's go. get some creep vine real quick so I can make some health kits. I know I'm gonna need it. And then we'll go from there. Just gotta find the creep vine because they made it look a little different in this game than the first one. There it is. At least the seeds. The seeds are yellow or red instead of yellow. So it definitely throws that off. Go until it tells me my inventory is full. There we go. Alright, so let's head back to base. We can make some med kits because I know I'm gonna need it because stuff likes to kill me in this game. And then we'll take a look and we'll see where this new location is and we'll go there. Hopefully we'll find some crystalline sulfur and stuff like that, but I don't think so because it's generally deeper down. Well, at least in the first Subnautica. This one, I don't know. There's only one way to find out, though. Alright. Because I know... Oh, no, that's right. I need to do that next. Let's... want that. I want health kits. Alright, so we're going to get 3 health kits out of this. We're going to use one now. And we'll have 2 extras. Alright, let's use the health kit. Go. Alright, now let's see what the new location was. It's... PK8. Alright. I'm pretty sure. So we're going to head toward PK8. We're going to change the color of it, though. Quick save. Alright, PK8. Just got to see. Alright, because of the distance, we're going to take this with us. Because this actually, you know, for as awkward as it is to pilot and as sensitive it is, it moves pretty dang quick. We probably won't be able to go all the way down to it. Most likely. But we're going to try. We're going to get as close as we can, and if we have to, we'll swim the rest. Already seen quite a few interesting monsters in here, though. Some things I still don't know what they are. And those you want to avoid. 'Cause I'm pretty sure those killed me once before, if I recall correctly. So far, we're good on depth. We just need to... I don't know what the hell that is. That's... shit. No, let's... just keep moving. Let's... not fuck with whatever that is. I don't know what any of this stuff is. It's cool, but there's a lot of creepy ass fish down here. And I'm not sure, but that almost... this is why I need the repair tool. But I can't have it anytime soon, I don't think. I don't know if I want to leave this here, but I'm not going to have a choice. Got to keep an eye on... know what is friendly or what isn't down here. We're gonna have to take our chances. We're gonna do a quick save here in case we lose it. Well, we're gonna have to take our chances because I can't go any deeper. So we're gonna have to swim it. Shit! Okay, I think I'm dead. No, I'm not dead, but I don't like this area. I don't know what that was, though, but we aren't going to stick around to find out. I think it killed me before, though. But I have no...
Detected nearby.
Okay, well, inactive is fine. What we don't want is an active volcano right now. Lithium. Alright, good shit. I should have scanned that. We'll do that now. Oh, and the Ruby is finding this stuff early on this time. Diamond, alright. Need another, well, have to be mindful of my oxygen levels here. See if we can make it to the surface with what we got. And then we'll...
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
I don't know if I want to be that close to whatever the hell that is. Oh shit. Fuck. I might be dead this time. Fuck. I wish I knew what that thing was. But I died and I dropped some of my stuff, which probably means... Let's see what I dropped. I didn't drop the lithium. That's a plus. Where? Oh, it put me back in the sea truck. Even better. Alright, good. Let's... I think the sea truck should... Maybe? That's upgrades. I don't know if it has a storage module yet. Not yet, it looks like. Alright, that's fine. Let's... I don't want to take the sea truck anywhere else, so that's plus, though. We did die, but it put me back at the sea truck. I lost a few resources. That's fine. We can get them back. We just... Basically, no, we don't stop. And if we have to surface, pay better attention to your surroundings. Don't get stopped under ice. I'm gonna kind of go dark.
It is both reassuring and unsettling to rediscover this site after being in storage for so long. My connection to the network grows stronger, however slightly. I hope you will continue to search for more of these.
You're a little unsettling still. You, like, got in my head without my permission, too. Alright, so we can scan this.
Warning. 30 seconds.
But then
of
we
oxygen
are
remaining.
in trouble unless I can find a...
New technology acquired.
Good shit, we got some new tech, but new tech doesn't help me to not drown. Shit. What the hell?
Oxygen.
Oh, but this works. I don't know if it's going... Nope, we're drowning. I don't think I'm gonna make it to the surface. Nope. It was too far down. Hopefully we didn't lose any of the technology stuff. The losing resources, I can live with that. Just hopefully we didn't lose. Okay, so we lost a little bit, but did we lose the technology stuff? Let's see. I don't know what we had, so got me a quantum locker, which storage solution, which shares content with. Oh, that's nice. The problem is, though, I do need to go back down there because I need more lithium. So we have to go again. And this time we're not going all the way down, though. At least not yet. We will. Where's it at? Did it stay the same color? There's one way to find out. Yes, it did. PK8. Should be. I don't know why I don't see it anymore. There it is. All right. So we're not going to go underwater yet. It looks like we'll eventually get some type of a suit that will allow me to. Well, underwater. We're already underwater. We're not going to go too deep yet. Boy, that's shit. We're gonna. Oh no, we're not. Nah, what I wanted to come up near. I don't know what it is, but. That's okay, so we can't stay up here for long. I'm not daring enough to try to scan it for now. We're just gonna try to get some more lithium and get the hell out of here. So I want at least 4 pieces of lithium. We got 3, so I want at least 1 more. All right. I should have brought a beacon with me, though. We are not going to go all the way down here right now because we aren't equipped for this fully. We are going to have to surface because we're good for now, but we are going to head toward the surface. And we'll come back this way with the beacon. That should help. That will be useful because that should be like 7 lithium as long as I don't die. Did I count my other death? I don't know. Think so. I don't remember. We'll add 1 more death because I don't think I counted it. Alright, we're going to surface. Just.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen
No.
remaining.
Alright, we're going to try to do this as quickly as I can. Wasn't necessarily trying to get that airborne, but we'll take it. Alright, so we'll give this a minute here, because I wonder if I can... I just wonder, can I scan them? Oh shit, they actually hurt you? Fuck. Leave it like the thing that looks friendly to hurt you. And then there's the actual other shit. Alright. Let's see. Where is... I don't really have too much time to get my... I need the sea... Need to find the sea truck. Where's my sea truck? Gone? No, it's right there. Alright. I'm gonna make it back to the sea truck because we can... God, there's...
Significant geothermal activity detected below. Beware of high pressure and temperatures.
I know exactly what that thing is, and yet I still got close to it. Sulfur plant. The creature... and it's right by my... I'm just gonna try to get in.
Warning. Maximum depth reached.
Yeah, we gotta be
Damage imminent.
careful because I don't have the repair tool yet. And I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get the repair tool. Maybe soon. Crystalline sulfur. Shit, I should have scanned it. Okay, nope. It's fine. I know where it's at. One piece will hopefully be enough until I can get some type of a... This area is gonna be fun. I'm definitely gonna need that repair tool because I'm gonna lose a lot of vehicles with all this shit. But it's a very... Let's take my chances. We're gonna try and be greedy. Okay, not that greedy, because I know what that is. Alright, we're good for now, because we got that one piece of sulfur should be enough, I hope, to make the repair tool. Yes, it is. Good. Then we'll make a beacon and we'll come back this way and we'll go exploring further. And some other stuff. And the depth module upgrade so we can go further down. There's definitely a lot of shit that wants to fuck me up in this game. Alright, I think my inventory is pretty much full. Yeah. Fine, we can come back. It's gonna give me titanium. I don't need titanium at the moment. Only friendly fish I've seen are those sea monkeys right there. So far, other than the fish that we just eat. I'm definitely gonna need this repair tool before I can go any further, because this vehicle, a lot of work to build. Go, let's... For now, well, let's do this. Let's heal. So now that we've healed, let's grab you and you. We can stash you and you. Then we'll grab you. So I can make the depth module 1. No, we don't. Hold on. I think I've already got. I need do I need to make that? I don't remember. Is it just titanium? No, okay, so we're good. We do need to do that. All right, let's go ahead and then got the. Oh no, it's just glass. I don't have emerald glass. Can I make emerald glass yet? Not without lead. All right, so I need. They definitely changed them up. So I need 2 pieces of lead, and I should, I think, have lead in here.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Now we'll. That's fine. Because all I need is a little bit of lead. Thing in there. Thing in there. So, okay, that means if I don't have lead in there, I don't have it. So I don't have any lead. That's fine. Let me. I need to make that then. Guys, before I can go further, I need to get lead. So I need silicone rubber, which I should have silicone rubber in here. Perfect. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the repair tool. Because without the repair tool, I'm going to lose my stuff, and I don't need to lose my stuff.
Recommended.
Alright, let's eat. Alright, so now that we got the repair tool, we can turn off the repair tool recipe. Alright, so I don't have any lead, so I can't do that. Let's see, what can I store? So we're gonna store the rest of this stuff over here because we don't need it. And we got an ad that's about to start in a minute here, everybody. Go. It'll be about a 3-minute ad break. It'll give me just time to go ahead, stretch, refill any water or whatever, whichever I may need to do. And I appreciate you sticking around while the ad goes on. We're not going to do too much because the ad's about to start. We're just going to go grab some fish real quick, if I can do so. That I can cook. And turn into water. That should be plenty. We're also going to have to recharge batteries, it looks like, here in a minute, too. Ad should be starting here any minute, everybody. It'll be about a 3-minute ad again. That's... Stick that on the charger here. I need the salt, actually. I think there was salt in there. Not in that one. One of these, there's salt. A little bit of salt. All right. Let's see what we got in here. Any more? Nope. All right, that's fine. We will be right back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. We're going to be in a quick ad break. And we are back. Thank you for sticking around. Let's go ahead and what was I doing? Curing some more food so I don't starve because we need to go lead hunting. Yeah, lead hunting. We need to get some water as well. There we go. Let's check. All right, cured. You're bad, so we're not going to eat you. We're going to dump you when we get out here because I don't feel like Uh, I don't feel like dying because I eat rotting fish. All right, so while that battery's charging, again, I should have done that while I was in here. Do I have... Okay, good. I do have a full battery. All right. So I don't really want to play musical batteries if I can avoid it. All right, so what we're going to do next is we are going to make our way... Well, we're going to actually do this real quick. We have the repair tool now. I still want to keep you with me, so we'll do that for a minute. We'll repair this because I don't want it destroyed. All right, perfect. Now that we've repaired that, we will re-equip the scanner. And we will make our way toward the creep vine for now. Well, actually, we'll surface real quick. The reason we're going toward the creep vine is because, or the diamond rather, in this case, just, and the drop beacon is because there should be lead down there. That's the creep vine. Because I need lead, I can't do anything without it. Not worried about you. How did I miss these earlier? How did I miss these two PDAs? Okay, we found them. We just know next time to look closer. So I'm so grateful for these oxygen plants because they really help. We do have to be careful down here too, though, because there are something that tries to kill me. I honestly haven't found out what. I haven't been able to get a scan. It just kills me. Could be. We gotta be careful down here. I want to get what I need, find what I need, and get the hell out. Diamond isn't what I need, but at least not yet. Fine, it gives me was lithium, of course. I don't need lithium now, and now I'm able to find lithium like easily. This might be the last piece I need for... Nope, I already apparently had that. That's fine. Alright, we need to pay attention to my oxygen levels, which aren't bad for now. I want out of here. I don't think I'm going to find what I need here anyway. It looks like I found some stuff from me eventually dying last time I was down here. Or one of the last times I was down here. Let's get out of here, because we're not going to find what we need down here. Shit. I don't know what the fuck that is, but I don't care. I'm not... Oh, yes, I do. I just forgot about it. Shouldn't have got that close to it. Do I have any health? Oh. Like a freaking plant that just wants to eat you. Think we were already down by the diamonds one. We'll go take a quick look. Because there's oxygen down here at least. Actually, we don't think we're going to find what I need down here. No. We're just going to make my way out of here. Quickly as I can. Still really grateful for these oxygen plants. It makes it a heck of a lot easier than just drowning automatically because you run out of air. I just wish I had more oxygen available, which I'll eventually get. But it also seems like, you know, because the planet's colder and whatnot, that we lose resources faster. Like batteries die faster, oxygen depletes faster. Not worried about titanium. We're gonna get greedy a little bit here. Might regret it, but we're gonna try. Want titanium. Whole bunch of titanium. We'll deal with that in a minute. We're not actually that bad off for water yet. We're gonna need to surface. Hopefully we'll make it without having to use the
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Yeah, we're not gonna chance it. Wow, we're up here real quick.
Vital signs stabilizing.
Alright, so we still have a little bit of room, and we can always drop some things that I don't really need at the moment. Where were we gonna get? Let's see. Thinking of what's gonna have the most likely chance. I think it's Beacon 3. It might have a good chance of having some lead. There. So our inventory's full anyways, so let's get out of here, go drop off some of this inventory, and then we'll go. Actually, we'll take a quick look, because I can always drop. I don't care about titanium. Those are useful for batteries, but right now I don't need to worry about that. Alright. Fine, we're just gonna keep on, well, I would say swimming, but keep on, like, gliding, because we're technically not swimming right now. Keep hoping that one of them's gonna drop what I need. We can go drop off what we've got, and then we can go
Welcome
hunting.
aboard, Captain.
Nope, I don't want to drop the knife in there. That's a bad idea. We will store the salt, though, because we don't need the salt for now. Alright. Being said, just because I didn't do that. Alright, so now... Let's see. I think the emergency supply cache is going to be the best one to go to. I think there's lead out that way. Unless I can find a, like, lava cave or something on the way. Or more of those rocks.
Calorie intake recommended.
I think actually, you know what? I don't recall. I think that there's some stuff down here. Possibly, anyway. Let's just keep looking. No, at one point I found some lead down here. No lead down here. We just kind of went around in a circle. Let's make our way to Delta Station like we were initially planning it. We can also see what the sea monkeys have, because on occasion, again, they find stuff like lead, lithium, and useful resources. This is all titanium. Probably died here. Maybe that's why it's all sitting there. Or I dropped it. My inventory was overfull. Right. Grab some of this oxygen real quick. Finding silver is not a bad thing. Silver is pretty rare. Got one lead. Alright, so we know that this area could potentially have some more lead. And I think I need 3 more pieces of lead.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Let's replenish the oxygen, then we'll head back down. I will drop every single scrap of titanium just for this silver and whatnot. Titanium is so common, we don't really need that much of it. So I need more lead. And I should have been smart and brought a beacon with me, because this is a very... seems like a very resource plentiful area. But I forgot to craft the beacon. Oh well. Do that next time. Alright, let's see. There's a fish. Mindful of oxygen here in a second.
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Should be good. Shit. I don't know what the hell that... Yes, I know. Oxygen wasn't what I was worried about, though, at the moment. Alright, let's see. I don't know if I've ever been... I don't think I have, because there's... I don't know.
Another site found.
No, I've never been here.
Tell me something useful. I have collected enough data to extrapolate the location of a component necessary to assemble my body.
Good shit.
I will provide a signal.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
Fine, but right now I want to... Why I just picked you up when I just dropped a crap ton of you, but it's fine. Hopefully, I don't care about titanium again, so... Okay. There was a piece of lead in the mix. There it is. Alright, so that'll at least get me a little bit of lag right now. Okay, good. This is back. Alright, we will... Alright, good. So, I think that's... Okay, good. I do have one more. I didn't need titanium. That's fine. Let's just get out of here. We should have enough. I think. Now, at least get the depth module started. I do not like all these creature sounds though in this area. So far, honestly, when it comes to creatures, this game has got much worse creatures, and they're much closer and confined and looking to get you. Alright. That's alright. It just means I had to pay much closer attention to my surroundings. Okay, that's gonna be fun. I should have planned that better, although that was a full battery too, but we did use it a lot. Man, you swim slow. Luckily, we're almost back. Alright, so...
Welcome aboard, Captain.
T. Alright, let's see what it's got.
Function with such a fallible and inferior body.
Excuse you? My body is anything but inferior. I work hard for my body to be able to do what it does.
Yes, but its overall form is not ideal. For example, consider its use of primitive ball and socket joints.
Is there anything you don't find primitive? Humans bartered with evolution to get more brain wrinkles and opposable thumbs.
It is true the opposable thumb is excellent, but all corporeal forms are temporary. The ability to be reborn when a body breaks down is paramount.
My body is my own and I cherish it. It grows with me. Humans have one life. We plant trees we can never experience the shade of. We build for the next generation.
Noble, but again, truly inefficient.
You are incredibly frustrating, you know that?
I hope to see the forms of my people again.
Alright. So we should have enough to make the depth module now. Let's work on it if we can. Actually, I need to make the glass first. And then the emerald glass so we can make the depth module. Maybe. What do I need to make it? I don't remember because they've changed up the stuff a little bit. Oh, I forgot the diamonds. Okay. All right, am I gonna have enough? Yes, good shit. All right. All right, so now I don't know how deep it's gonna get me yet. Go find out. Where is the sea truck? There it is. All right. 300 meters. Good. That will be useful. All right, so let's actually go in here. Unpin you. All right. Can't make you. I don't have enough lead yet. But I gotta go find more. All right. Give me another new location. It did. It gave me the architect body cache. All right. Let's turn you off. Let's see. Alright. Stash you, because I know if I die, I'll probably lose you. Quick save. Let's change the color of you. Alright, so let's go for a ride and see what's in the architect cache. Just gotta find. There it is. All right, let's see what we got. Provided there's nothing down there. Well, there's probably going to be something down there that will want to kill me, eat me, or both. But that's fine. We'll just see what happens. I mean, we've only died 3 times at least tonight, and one was drowning, I think, maybe 2, and 1 was killed by something. No idea what that something was, though. Nope, that's not gonna work. Crap, and I forgot the beacons again. Dang it. Every time I tend to find something good, and I always forget to make beacons. I gotta remind myself next time I'm at the base to make beacons. Right now, we're just not stopping, because... yeah, this is the area I wanted to bring a beacon to, because this has got, like, the crystalline sulfur and everything in, and I forgot. Alright. We're gonna be potentially stupid and get greedy here. Because this stuff is not impossible, but this is the biggest farm of resources I've found for, like, lead, lithium. I've yet to see any lead here, but lithium, crystalline sulfur. Diamond and stuff of that nature. Ooh, potential good scanning area. But there's a hole. I don't know. We're gonna chance it. Shouldn't chance it. Battery. Good shit. I wish I had a storage module upgrade though. What is that? Could be interesting. I've yet to find a jukebox, but could be interesting. Alright. Let's see. New PDA. Yeah, fuck. I don't know what the hell that is. I've never been able to scan it. We're not gonna bother to look into what that is here, though. If there's a... okay, well, it blew up far enough away. We're good. But it was like a sulfur fish or whatever. I can't remember exactly what its name was. Shit, I don't have any health with me. Maybe I'll get lucky and there'll be health lying around. So far, no. I should have came much better prepared than what I did.
Seek fluid intake.
That's as greedy as we're gonna get for now. maybe.
Vital signs stabilizing.
Alright, let's see. Shh. Nope, getting away from that. Okay, so that wasn't even what we were looking for. That was just a bonus area basically on the way to what we were looking for. Alright, so we're just gonna keep moving and hope that, you know, the little bit of health I have is enough, because I didn't bring any health with me and I forgot my beacons like I have every single time I've gone out tonight. That's fine. We got it. Haven't been grabbed by anything in this venture that wants to kill me yet.
There is a large anomalous mass of rock that has broken away and risen above the surrounding terrain.
Let's see. There we're going. That way. Alright. It's too easy to get directionally turned around here. Really is. There's going to be something down here that wants to kill me. I guarantee it.
You came within range of data that might help with the construction of a new storage medium. You must continue to investigate.
Can't wait to get you out of my head, so that's fine.
Warning. Maximum depth
Shit.
reached. Hull damage imminent.
I wasn't paying attention like I should have been. Alright, let's back off a little bit. And let's just run it and see what happens. Hopefully there will be oxygen plants down
I
here.
strongly sense my people's technology nearby. A body component is near.
I don't see... Let's kind of keep exploring and see. I don't see anything, but... Great mining resource opportunities, though. Eventually. Maybe. Am I gone? Actually, might be a good spot to make a base. It looks like it's peaceful too. And is it? What is that?
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen.
I don't know what's going on. Did I just go into like one of the... I went into like one of those fish things. I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm too far... Nope, I'm too far down.
Oxygen.
Maybe? I don't know if I'm gonna... Nope, I'm not gonna make it. Alright, well, that's... not... I'll be drowned again. Alright, it happens, though. Plus side of drowning is at least it stuck me at the sea truck. Not not anything else. So I just wish I had the storage module. Let's go ahead and just try it again. This time, okay, well, let's take advantage of scanning whatever this is, because I didn't do that last time. Now just be careful and mindful while we're down here and see if we can find like any, which I didn't see any, but it doesn't mean I didn't overlook them. Oxygen plants. So, some piece of tech down here. Somewhere. Oh, let's see. We're gonna have to be mindful of oxygen. We might not be able to stay down here too long. There is, okay, there's the sea truck. I don't see any. What is? No, what is that? Where is?
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen
Yeah, I'm
remaining.
trying to get my. We're gonna be in trouble again. 'Cause whatever that thing is, I can't scan. I don't even see my.
Oxygen.
Let's try. You know, it's not gonna work. That's fine. We just drowned again because we just got hit by like something that looks like it put us on like a bad trip. Or what a little bit I would know about that, but. So what did I lose? Okay, well we didn't lose the sulfur or the magnesite, which is good. Can I? Emerald glass rubies, synthetic fiber. So the only thing I don't have is, well, that I can't, well, actually I probably need more lead too. Okay, never mind. I can't make the synthetic fiber because I haven't found that spiral plant yet. I don't know what that is. Alright. Let's see. There it is. Alright. I know we keep going down here and doing the same thing, but this time I want to, if this thing does get me again, I want to scan it and then see what we can do. I know it's not necessarily what I need, but if it gets me again, we'll just head back to, we'll go exploring and buy the pod and make more beacons. This way I have a way to navigate back here easier. I forgot about that. Well, I didn't forget about it. I didn't see it until it was too late. Let's see. All right. Nice if there was an oxygen plant down here. Okay, well, we'll pick up some of that stuff. There's... I wonder if that's what we were looking for.
Warning. 30
No,
seconds of
but
oxygen remaining.
I don't have anything that... I'm gonna get lucky and there'll be an oxygen plant down here.
Oxygen.
No. If I hurry up though, which I don't... No, there is an oxygen plant. Can I make it? Can I make it? Can I make it?
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen.
That's fine.
remaining.
30 seconds. That's 30 seconds more than what I had before. And there's another. Shit. Yeah. Okay, well at least I know there's...
Oxygen.
It's... No, it didn't kill me, so if I hurry up, I can make it to this oxygen plant.
Warning. 30 seconds
That's
of
fine,
oxygen
because when I get in here, it won't matter. Because there's atmosphere in here, or at least there should be. Alright. Made it. Alright, was worth it. Maybe. We didn't die though this trip. Ancient components.
This skeleton is very dense, able to handle heavy forces. A good frame for my new form.
Are you okay, Alan?
It is not often that I gaze upon the form of a fallen architect.
Is this place another sort of sanctuary? It's peaceful. Beautiful, even.
As the bacterium spread, the continuation of life became uncertain. This is a place to reflect.
I think I understand.
Let's see if there's anything. I kind of want to be thorough because I don't know if we're going to come back this way. I mean, I do kind of want to, I'm not going to lie, I kind of want to make a base down here because of all the mining resources that I found. But that might be a much later project when I have more oxygen and things of that nature. Because I don't have the resources to do what I want to do. Let's take a minute though, see. Control room, operational hub for observing and managing habitat power. Okay, that's new. I can probably make that when I get back. Okay. I don't think I can make that because I don't think I can make that first resource yet. I don't think I've got the... No. Well, actually... I could make the skeleton, I think. Yeah, I should, well, actually, maybe. I might need... Can't remember. I might need, is it... Okay, lithium, that I can do. I thought I needed lead. Alright, so couldn't realize I was muted there. I accidentally took out the power core of my sea truck while I was trying to get it, pick up stuff. We're not going to put it back in here right now. We're just going to run back. Well, not really run back. We're going to get to a safe place and then put stuff back because there's way too much kill you down here. And then we're going to get beacons again and probably build a forward base down here, maybe two. One in the upper area and one in that cave area below because there's a bunch of mining resources. And this way, whenever we get the stuff that allows me to mine, it's easier. We'll put the power cell back in at the base. And there's another sea monkey. Those are the only friendly creatures I've found who actually bring you resources and things of that nature. Have to repair when I get back to. Yo, there's my base. Now let's put it back. Let's see what we can do.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Can I build? Well, alright, we can make. All I need apparently is 2 diamonds to make the laser cutter. We haven't seen anything where I need it yet. You know what? I'd rather have it, not need it, than not have it, need it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make the laser cutter. That's wrong. We want you. What I really want to find out is if there is a stasis weapon, because the stasis weapon saved my ass in the other game. Very much so. Okay, so we need a couple of you because I want to make. I think we can. It's not there. It is not there either. All right, let's just do this because it's easier. Let's see. All right, so an advanced wiring kit. Fine, that should be. Well, what is the advanced wiring kit? I don't remember. Let's see. So it's a computer chip and a wiring kit, and the computer chip is. All right, we have all that. So we need old copper wire. Go. So we'll get the computer chip, and we'll need silver to make the wiring kit, which isn't a big deal. I've got that. That's fine. I know where I can get it. And we got an ad here about to start in a minute, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get as much of this crafted as I can. And then take a couple minute break while I go ahead and refill my water, stretch, and everything of that nature. And then I'll be right back. But we'll wait while I can get everything I can done. Alright, so, and that's just to build one. So we will have to build more, but for now I want to just build the one and see what it can hold. Once I see what it can hold, we'll try to build another one. Alright, so let's just place it right here. Okay, so it can't hold the crap ton, but it can hold decent amount. I mean, if I build enough of them, in theory, it should all be accessible. Alright, so we also have another piece of copper wire. And we can find that out with an experiment here. So, alright. Gold, copper, titanium, coral. Should have coral here somewhere, and the ad should be starting any minute now. Alright, we are in a quick ad break, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and take a few minutes. Thank you for sticking around. Alright, and we are back. Thank you for sticking around. Let's test this out real quick. I need 2 more silver, but I need the computer chip as well. What we're testing out right now was where we left off, to seeing how this chest works and basically the transport properties of being able to access anything with the chest. We're going to build one and then see, and if it works the way I think it's going to work, we might end up building multiples and just always keep one with me. So I can always have base building resources with me. At least it's the plan. Not sure how it's gonna work. Because if one chest can access multiples, that'd be freaking cool. And it would make base building a lot easier. It would be a lot less back and forth. Alright, so we need to make the advanced wiring kit. Alright, so let's go ahead and make the deployable quantum locker. Being said, actually, what we need to do too is we need to be smart and we need to eat. We're gonna need to get more food before we can make this trip too. Alright, so we're gonna keep the quantum locker with us. We're gonna go down here to the grav trap and get some more food. And stuff to make water, just because I know we're gonna need it. Again, I just have to hope I don't do what I do sometimes and pick up the grab trap and then recatch everything. Alright, that should be plenty, but I only have, I think I don't have, well, I don't know if I have any more salt. I might only have the one. If I do just have one, that's going to make it a lot more interesting when it comes to curing food. Okay, 2 salt. So that means, at least that means I can cure 2 pieces of food. Yeah, I have enough salt. Oh, unless I stuck some in that quantum chest, which we can find out. Okay, you can pick it up. If I had stuff in there, I didn't think you could pick it up. That one's empty. I thought... Okay, so what happened to the contents in it? That's weird. Did I lose it? Let's test this. No. Okay. That's cool. You can pick it up full, too. That is very useful, because the other chests that are underneath you can't pick up full. Alright, we're gonna cure you. Cure you. So I only had the 2 salt. And we're gonna cook up some of you. And then we're gonna make the rest of the fish into water. Or at least the rest of the bladder fish into water. Alright. Because we're definitely going to need water. I mean, I will need more food too, but... Shoot. Alright, come on. Alright, so... No, I don't want to eat the cured ones. I want to eat the cooked ones before they... take my chances with that one. Alright, so... This could be very useful. Only thing is I need to know... I think we're going to need to wait to be able to do what I want to do. We're probably going to have to explore a little bit because of the fact that I don't have like the base rooms that I want. Like I don't have a large room. I don't know if I'm going to get a large room. I would imagine though having the bio creator or bioreactor and some of this larger furniture, we eventually will. That's right. We were going to see if we could build the skeleton. Let's see if we can, because it's another thing. And we'll see if we can build the control room while we're here. At least one, so we can see what it does. I can always, well, in theory, take it apart. Alright, so I need diamond, which I'm not worried about. Plasteel ingot. Let's see, where's the plasteel ingot? It requires lithium and titanium, which I've got plenty of titanium. I'm not really worried about that. Alright, but you Okay, well, the thing is, do I have any of those with me, or did I lose them when I think I lost those when I died? So, well, maybe. Let's go take a look. Because if I didn't lose them, they're going to be in here. Is everything I moved into here?
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Good, it means we're gonna end up expediting the base building plan, I think. Which might be a bad idea, but... Alright, so... We need silver, gold... That's copper. I also will need 2 copper. I think it's 1 piece of gold, but we'll grab 2 just to be on the safe side. Alright, let's see. We might not be able to do this. I might not have all the stuff. We might have to go exploring some more. We're gonna have to. I need what? 3? What do I need? I need to look because the advanced wiring kit. Remember, I should remember, but where's a computer chip? And the computer chip, yeah, I have to drop stuff off, not my knife. All right, so we have to go get some more coral. But should have some... Should be some that way. We're just gonna... No, that's not. That's fine. Let's just head that way. We should have some down there. We're just gonna keep moving. I think there's gonna be some down here. There's also stuff down here that wants. Yes, there is. And I did it again. Didn't remember to make beacons. It's fine. We'll do it when we go back because we're just here for coral. Only because there's a chance it could...
Warning. 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Alright. Not gonna drown. Not again. Holy fuck. Welcome on in, Small Kodak 98. I hope you're having a good time. I'd like to know how you found the stream if you'd like to talk. If not, that's cool too. Really enjoy the little I watched. It was so cool. Honestly, you are good, and I really like what you're doing. It's super cool, and I'd love to have a great conversation with you if you're cool with that. You can join my public Discord. There's a link posted in the thread there, but I don't do direct conversations in Discord with people. If you would like, you can feel free to join. If I can type here. Again, I appreciate the follow, but if you would like, you can feel free to join the Discord, and you can talk to me in there. But I don't talk to people outside of. I don't talk to people directly through DMs in Discord from stream. All right, but again, thanks for the follow and everything. If you have any questions, you can join the public Discord where we can communicate through there if you'd like, but that's the only way I do communicate with people. All right, let's head back. We got enough table coral that we should be able to do some things now. To at least make the computer chip. Or, well, I have to look. Alright. Turn the light off so we don't kill the battery. Yeah, so I need gold and copper wire. Alright. Let's just do this. So there's the computer chip. Now we can... Oh, what was I trying to make? Okay, so we need 2 silver. So I need to go here. Don't have any silver here. Oh, there's 1 silver. Should have some more. We don't need all the coral with me. I just need 3. So, I should just put a crafting thing in here if I can build one, just so I don't have to keep going back and forth. But one of the cool things about this is they put the pod underwater in this game instead of being above water, so at least you get a little bit less, and I will need more titanium. I didn't pay attention to that. That's fine though. That is glass. I have glass. Is it 1 or 2? 1 glass. Alright. For titanium. Alright, so I don't know where that is built. Actually, I bet you I do know where that's built. Alright, so I need base building tool. Where's the... There it is. Now we'll do that. We'll just have to make sure we remember to turn that back on. Let's see. We'll see if we can... Shoot, wrong button.
In the control room, you can change base lighting and colors, rename your base, and see information about power and structural integrity.
That's cool.
But not the integrity of societal power structures.
I am picking up the signature of an important item belonging to my people. I will share its location.
Okay.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
This is really cool. We got like an integrity, a power status, the time. I'm not gonna worry about the name and the color for now, but this is cool. Alright, so now that we've done that, we can... Let's just to clean up everything, let's do that. And it said we got a new location. Well, we got that one, so we got Z13. Alright, let's keep that green. Check my resources. We can check them while we're dropping stuff off because we don't need the coral. And then we will re-equip you. Cured. You're not bad yet, so we're just gonna... Not fully bad anyway. Yeah. Alright, so... Let's see where we're going. To Z13. Alright. That way. Alright, see where we're going. I mean, I want to see if we can build a... Build like a vehicle bay, but I've yet to find anything for that. So let's just keep moving toward the vehicle bay. We're probably gonna have to repair by the time we get there with how I drive this thing. Or how I hit fish and things of that nature. I may have just cornered myself. Maybe. Forgot about the icebergs and all. Alright. We need to get out of here. I shouldn't have gone this way because I don't know what any of this stuff's gonna do, and we're gonna need to repair here in a little bit. Let's just keep moving. I don't like these things. Willing to bet you they're probably something that like explodes or something. I don't know, but I don't really want to stay by them long enough to find out. Let's see, well, hopefully we didn't just mess myself up again. Well, looks like we're stuck. Can I get unstuck? Okay. That's fine. We'll try it and see what... Oh, that's not helpful. It leaves my... Let's see. Okay. It's a little better. Still don't know... Oh, this is cool, but there's one tiny little problem with this. We are, okay, more than one tiny little problem. I mean, it's cool to see some type of structure, but I don't know if I'm How many flares do I have with me? 5. Okay. So we're gonna do a quick save. And once we get out of the water here, we'll keep an eye on, well, actually, there. While we go attempting to explore around that way. All right. Problem is how. I don't know if the flare stays lit in the. Okay, that's weird, but I'll take it. Flare stays lit in the water. Don't worry about scanning later.
The artifact you found contains traces of information suggesting what has become of my people.
So we don't need to worry about that in here. Nice though, infinite flares basically. It doesn't look like they burn out at all.
New technology acquired.
Cool. Let's see what we got. Alright. Okay, so we got a recyclotron. Basically allows me to recycle things. Oh, nice. Give it back to me into what it was. That's useful. At least if I'm reading that correctly. Alright. Hang on one moment. Alright, fixed it. Alright, let's see. What we do kind of want to... That looks like everything of use here. Maybe not. I don't know if I had to be careful because I don't know what the that's not what I wanted. I don't know what the how fast I can die out here from freezing to death. Well, actually, I do know once from one time it wasn't that long, so I mean it was maybe a minute. Well, let's see. Figure though, we were going to a cold planet. They'd bring a better insulated suit. So let's see, is there anything else? I mean, it looks like it's whatever that is. Be nice to know how to get up there.
Hypothermia imminent.
Shit. I gotta get underwater. It's the only way I'm gonna warm up, which is ironic. Get underwater to warm up. And then go back in. gonna probably, where's the sea truck? We're gonna wait till daytime. We're gonna wait in the sea truck until it becomes daytime. Actually, let's fix that while we can.
Vital signs stabilizing.
Oh, that is nice though. I like the way they do that in this game. The Aurora Borealis stuff. Never actually really seen it in real life. But I like the way they do it in here. I mean, well, okay, I've seen it once in real life, but it wasn't very good where I'm at. I've seen pictures other people have taken, and it's really nice. Alright, I think I found the way in. Again, I just have to wait for daytime. Otherwise, I'm gonna freeze faster because it's too cold. I don't know what's up here, but we're gonna find out if we can. Alright, we might be okay. Think we're good now. It looks like it's daytime. Bunch of cool stuff potentially up here. Gotta keep warm though, so I have to keep the torch equipped. The torch, yeah, equipped. And now I wonder, actually, I might go try to do that now that Diver's finish. Yep. Well, or I can't scan it, one of the two. Alright, we got some water, and I don't know what the other thing was I picked up. I didn't catch it. Food, very useful. Nothing. It looks like I can scan here. There. There's so much to explore here. Wonder if I can... Sweet. I can just go by those things to warm up a little bit. Or the... Yeah, I can go by them to warm up. That'll be helpful if I can find them. Let's see. All right, we want to go. I don't really know where to go. That's the thing. There's so much. Stuff here to explore. Say, hey, picked up snowballs. Interesting. Maybe we'll have a snowball fight later with something. Take a quick look. This way I can warm up a little bit. But still surprises me that I can come down here and warm up. Nope, we're avoiding those, because those I'm fairly certain killed me. Again, don't really want to find out again. Alright, let's see.
All-Terra facility beacon detected nearby. Unique identifier. Phi Robotics Center.
See if I can find it then. And let's hope it doesn't try to kill me. Alright, so it looks like we're good here for now. Because the last time I found an Altera thing, they pretty much tried to kill me. And then I froze because I tried to run from what tried to kill me.
Seek fluid intake.
Actually, I kind of wonder. That's a good question. Okay, so no, I don't think I can use them for water. We got hot springs, basically. There's a platform I haven't been to up here. I don't know what it does. No, we're gonna leave. Okay, it's the robotics pad, but what can I do with the robotics pad? There's no station available. I don't want to pick up the beacon because that'd be stupid. So if I pick up the beacon, I'd never find my way back here. What's this?
Dangerous weather approaching. Seek
Yeah.
shelter.
Oh, it's ice falling. Okay.
Phi Robotics. This is where Sam worked.
Okay, so we're in the place where we came, or in the place where my sister worked, where we're trying to find, who we're trying to find, or find out what happened. Ooh, that's new. That looks like that could be cool.
New blueprint synthesized.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Now I found it, I want to know what it takes to make it. Okay, that's not bad, actually. It's a wiring kit in titanium. And we got a place to stay until the weather breaks. Ooh, what's in here?
Sam loved working here with her spy pinglings.
Do all humans like work?
The lucky ones do.
Are you lucky?
I used to think I was.
What is that? Alright. Ooh, another. See some really cool stuff here. Alright. Alright, that's.
Hey, Sam. Oh, hey there, Pengling buddy.
Hi, Fred. What brings you this way?
I was just passing by. Lillian wanted a hand with a deep dive out in the bridges. You know, I think she's right. There is some weird stuff out there.
Let's
What'd you
keep
say?
exploring here.
Yes, I heard it with my own ears.
So you think she's right? There's intelligent life down there?
I don't know.
Water
I'll leave that to the
purification
scientist
stuff.
types.
This
Cool.
scientist is more at home with these penguins. But if my sister was here, she'd be all
Check
over
that
this.
out in a
Wait.
minute.
Are you telling me you're not the brains in the family?
Oh, my family has many different brains. Like
A Hydra?
well,
Scanning Sam's bed, okay?
oh, yeah, actually,
This must have been Sam's room.
I didn't mean to interrupt that.
It's not right.
Combined with a frozen water source, water purification tablets can create drinkable water as you explore the snowy surface.
Okay, I wonder if that's what the snow would be useful for.
Hi, you. How's everything at Pengling Central?
oh, fine. But I haven't heard anything since giving the footage to Zeta. It's been, what, a week?
Did she promise you a report?
No, but I expected some kind of reaction. Maybe I should take it up with Emmanuel. It is Kara, after all, and
We're just gonna
there's a lot of suffering.
take our time here and
Why
hunt
would it
for
get
stuff.
We have professional containment and know how to neutralize it in an emergency. Sam, I love you, but you don't know what you're talking about.
You...
It's nothing.
Wait, why do you know so much about this?
It's my area of research.
Why are you being evasive?
Health kit,
Oh, I
good.
wanna tell you something, and then you have to drop this crusade you're on before you
Oh,
damage
hold
your
on.
career. We're researching the bacteria.
What kind of research?
Yes!
I don't want you worrying about this.
Hold suit
We are
fragment.
aware of the possible downsides, but they're far
That
outweighed,
should be
and
super useful.
that's as much as I can tell you. Sam,
I need to think. I have to go.
Alright, now we'll go ahead and keep scanning stuff. Because I know once I scanned the one bed, it queued a conversation, so. Alright, good shit. So I wonder if I can take Bud.
New blueprint synthesized.
Water purification tablet. Okay, so that is useful. That will allow me to potentially save myself in a pinch. Alright. And we're definitely not taking that beacon from there. It's staying right there because there's so much useful stuff here that I've probably missed. I'll probably end up having to come back for. It's a map. That's going to be useful. Still get lost, but it'll be useful. Because I'm very... I wonder. I don't know. Let's find out. We're inside right now, so... No, okay. It's worth a try. Now let's turn the flare back on before I forget. Nothing in there. All right, let's see. Ooh, we are going to be here a while. If I can get up there anyway. No. Got my large room. Hopefully this is the only fragment I need for it. Good shit. Now I can build my large room. Alright, what are you? Something. Alright, we don't need all these snowballs. Need one. It's really all I should need. New PDA, we'll get there in a minute. Blasts really didn't do anything. This could be interesting. Already got cat. Alright, that. There's a PDA there. Thermos. I've yet to use the thermos, but we at least got it.
Oh, you brought a friend.
Spy pangling in training. We're recording audio. Is that okay?
Of course. I have the photos you sent.
Thought
What am I
I...
looking at here?
Corral pustules on the frozen Leviathan.
That's nothing to worry about in and of itself.
Frozen
It's
Leviathan?
well-contained.
The
Oh,
ice
hell
samples
no.
suggest it's been frozen since the time of the outbreak. The strain made the planet uninhabitable. If it mutates,
Are you feeling unsafe?
very.
Yes.
If I escalate this issue for you, will you feel comfortable enough to concentrate again? I have deadlines for the
Shit.
snowfox and the mining bots coming up. I really need your focus on the penglings.
Oh, yeah. That's a relief, actually.
Get a refrigerator this
That's more
time.
of a fight.
Nothing is more important than our safety. I'll take care of it, okay?
Thanks. I won't let you down.
Thanks, Sam. Keep up the good work.
There's a new PDA.
Hey guys, I'm so glad you're here.
Where else would I be? Like I'd miss Fred being exposed as the alien intruder.
That's not gonna happen.
But you didn't say you were not the intruder.
No, not this argument again. I beg you.
I think the game will settle this debate.
So, I just want to ask you something quick before Zeta gets back and we start playing. It's about the cavern with the frozen Leviathan. I investigated and
You investigated? When? I didn't see you.
maybe you were asleep or busy doodling inappropriate sea creatures.
Those drawings are art.
Anyway, I've looked into it, and I think we have reason to be concerned. It wasn't that long ago this planet was uninhabitable. But if we work together, we can get them to put an end to the Corral mutation experiments.
I'm not comfortable with this.
Samantha, you're paranoid.
Come on now. You're Sam out. She has our safety at heart.
And the rest of us don't?
Zeta!
Can we play the game now?
Fine.
At least I know if I need him, I can get him from here. I don't have that. I don't have it with me. Man, I should have brought it with me. Oh well. Alright, let's fix that. Alright. Okay. No problem. Let's just keep moving. Let's keep looking this way, because there's a... Okay, we'll come back to that. So I want to go this way, because that... Well, actually, no. It looks like that's where we're going. Let's go see what this is. Well, I think I know what it is. But let's go explore it. Let's see. Something just came up. There we go. It's what I thought it was, a teleporter. I don't know if we're able to activate it. Yet, it looks like no, but it could be useful eventually. And it looks like I might need ion cubes, which only have 2. It's probably not going to work right now. Because there's 4 pedestals, which probably means it needs all 4. Alright, so now we're cooking though. Now we got stuff to build a large room so I can build a new base section and eventually start working on my forward base, but for now I can perfect everything and get everything together where we're at. Just all this. I already scanned one of those. And that could make it more interesting to come back here too, because then I can use like the snow vehicle or whatever to navigate differently. What we got? I think we're at a good spot to, well, it's daytime, which I don't know if it is or isn't. Looks like it is not. We will. Ounces. Looks like it's nighttime, which means that. What's that?
Dangerous weather approaching. Seek shelter.
This, okay, so we're gonna head back inside until it becomes daytime, and then we're gonna finish exploring, because I gotta hunt. There's a little more I saw out there I want to explore, but we can't do it until it becomes daytime because it's too cold out right now. You know what? Actually, while we're waiting, I can't make it here, but we did get the cold suit. So I wonder what it takes to make the cold suit. Let's see. Okay, so we can make this nice. I don't know what the exact purpose of it is yet or what it will serve yet, but that will be cool. Still haven't tried that, but I don't think I can make it yet until I can get a bigger base. So now that we're a little closer, maybe we can. Okay, so we need shit. This snow stalker fur, which means there's something alive out here on the. Okay, this is gonna be fun. All right, it looks like we'll keep the flare on for now. So it looks like we're gonna be hunting some type of a monster here. It's probably gonna kill me at least once. Maybe we should think smart and go drop stuff off. But the thing is, I need to find this fur. And it's getting cold, so we have to be mindful of that. Find a hot spring or something. All right. I don't think we're not going to try that. I probably can't jump like that. But I do have to I have to move because otherwise we're gonna freeze. I can tell by, oh, hey, it's 35, like drop down to 30 some degrees, and also the effects on the screen. We have full health though, so I'd rather get hurt a little bit and warm up than die. Alright. And we're getting raided, everyone. It's just going to be a second here. I'm going to do a quick save while we're getting raided. Welcome in there, Mr. Doom. How was your stream and what were you playing? I really do appreciate the raid as well. Let's see. Hopefully I got that right. And if you're not doing it, you know, go ahead and please check out Mr. Doom here. He plays a lot of games like Monster Hunter and everything, and a few other things like that. Primarily, though, he plays Monster Hunter, some Mario Party with some other people, and Mario Kart on occasion as well. Servers are being funny, and we got slapped by a crab. LOL. Well, you know what? I guess the crab is better than the rat if the rat's in the game you were playing. Yes, I know it's not really a rat, but I mean, at least it's better than the rat or the rat-ish thing, because I don't like that monster. But I hope you had a good stream. You know, thanks again for the raid. If you do need to go ahead and stretch, you know, go ahead and take care of any after stream stuff, go ahead and do so. You know, I know that that's important. As a matter of fact, I should probably stretch or stand up here in a little bit, but I've been, you know, very much not really doing too much of that recently. Now you'd be hating the monsters in Frontier. Yeah, a lot of those monsters in, especially in like Rise and whatnot, I tend not to like too much anymore either. So I get that. Like, still not looking forward to the other one we gotta fight whenever we get there. Can't even remember what it is now. No, that's what it is. It's the Amatsu. I'm not looking forward to fighting that thing. All right. Yeah, definitely don't know. Not a big fan of that. Alright, we had some... Oh, my inventory's full. Crap. We might have to make a return run. And Mr. Doom's gonna go to Mr. Sleep. No problem. Thanks again for the raid. You know, enjoy your sleep. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks again for the raid. Have a good rest of your night. I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't like this though. We might be in trouble. Need the snow. I think we're gonna just have to head back because I don't have inventory space. I can fix, what's that? Titanium, it's fine. I don't need any more titanium. We gotta find someplace to warm up. We're gonna be in trouble. The water's right there though, so I don't need that. We got a PDA. I haven't been here. Alright. Go ahead and drink you so I can pick up the water. Or the med kit. We can warm up. And then we can go do a quick walk around this part of the surface area. And then we can keep on moving. Alright, and we got an ad starting in about a minute here, everyone. So we're gonna keep moving for the while we can here until the ad kicks up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take a few minutes, stretch, refill my water if I need to, and then keep moving. Probably gonna be heading back toward the base here as soon as I can get to my sea truck, and then doing some upgrades and some building of new stuff. Gonna have to find out where to get these fur. There, where is my sea truck? It was here. There it is, okay. So we're gonna head back to the sea truck, then we're gonna head back toward base. Thank you, Tiny, for the shout out. I appreciate it. All right. I think I got it, but you know, it doesn't hurt to do it again. I honestly, no big deal. Thank you again. I appreciate it. We are going to have an ad starting here any second. And it's going to be a 2 to 3 minute ad, I believe, which is going to be a few times to go few times, a few minutes to go ahead and stretch, refill my water and everything, and then get back into Subnautica here to go ahead and play some more. We're going to do some upgrades and base building and whatnot. Eventually we'll find out where we need to go for that snow stuff. If it's going to be a fight, it's going to be interesting. Alright. Ad should be starting here any moment. Yep, we are in a quick ad. Thanks for sticking around, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and take a few minutes and stretch. We'll see everyone in 3 minutes. Thanks again. Thank you for sticking around, everyone, and we are back. Let's head back to the base here. Drop off this inventory. I'm going to see about expanding the base when I get back as well with the large room and a few other things. Even though putting a base that close to the starter pod might not make sense, actually in this game it kind of does. At least to me. And there's the steam monkeys again, the only friendly ones I've seen, the only friendly creature I've seen on this planet. They actually get you things like resources, rocks, stuff that you can't, well, stuff that you can find on your own, but they help bring it to you on occasion, like lithium, lead, copper, gold, even titanium, which titanium is so common in this game that really that's the only thing I wish they wouldn't bring, but it's fine. And we're also gonna have to repair this when I get back. And luckily we are back. We are going to get out, repair it. We can swap the for now we can swap you for the repair tool. Alright, now that we've gone ahead and finished, well, almost finished, we're gonna go ahead and swap. There's the builder tool. Do I have enough to build it? Let's see. What does it require to build it, I guess, is the better question. Last steel ingot. I might have to go farming to be able to do this. Maybe not. I might already have enough lithium for that. Let's go find out.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Yeah, I should have plenty of lithium to do what I need. I think. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and go. Gotta organize this stuff, but now I also have new things I can build, so new storage units and things of that nature. So before we even start that, we're gonna just go ahead and, so I need 5, so I need 10 of you. How much do I have? I think I need 10. Yes, I need 10. All right, so we need 5 more. Let's see. Let's go ahead and watch when I'm done building this. It's gonna flood the it's gonna flood because I don't have the structural integrity probably, and then we'll have to fix it. All right, what am I looking for? I need 1 more of you because I need to make 2 of you. All right, so we got that one. Okay, that's not what I wanted. That's fine. I gotta get used to that door. All right, so let's just see. What do I? Oh, that was fast. Alright, so let's just go make sure that I think we should be okay. Yeah, we're good. At least for now. We've got 3 structural integrity left. But I'm gonna try to be proactive. I should have enough titanium for that. Now, okay. Say now titanium is going to become a lot more important. We can stash you for now. Stash You, we gotta. Eventually, when I get more organized, we'll. Get the storage unit set up the way I want and everything. Alright, okay, that requires lithium too, so I guess we have to go get some lithium. Because I want to also be able to, if I can, I want to be able to build the energy creator, the bio recreator. Let's see, alright. Fine, let's... And that's going to require structural integrity. Let's see what that did to structural integrity. 17. Alright, what do we need to... Let's do this. What do we need to make the bio thing? The bio center, I believe it is. The bioreactor, rather. Okay, so we need lubricant, which requires the creep vine, the wiring kit, which requires 2 silver. No problem. I don't know if I have any... creep vine, but I can get it. I might have to go silk. Nope. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and make the wiring kit because I can do that. Might have. I don't know. I think. Oh, let me look because I can't remember. Creepvine cluster. I may already have that. I do. All right, good. So now we get more sustainable power for this space, and then we can eventually move stuff so it's not crowding that corridor now. Eventually, anyway. All right, let's see. We want charges and repairs, the snow hover bike. Okay, so that just is a repair thing. It won't let me build the hover bike. That's fine. We're gonna go ahead and stick you right there. Alright, now that we've done that, we can hear you. Let's see, what else can I... Okay, so I should have... Okay, I can make more of those. Still need to find this snow stalker for, which means we're gonna have to go back to that island. There's some cool new stuff in here. Alright, we also need to make sure while I'm here, you know what? I'm gonna do this before I forget, because I forgot every single time. I need... Five, 6. We're gonna just kind of go nuts with it. Make 6 beacons. If I can, anyway. I think I got the stuff to make 6 of them. Might be overkill, but I'll keep like 3 with me, and I'll keep 3 here. Because copper seems to be... Copper is... Okay, maybe not 6. We'll see. Make 5, unless I have 1 more copper in here, because I'm going to run out of copper. I don't have any more copper in here. That's fine. So, actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So we did end up actually making 6. Alright, so we got the 6. Alright, let's see, is there anything? We don't need to worry about that anymore. Still can't make you, which is fine for now. Let's see. Copper wire. Okay, so I can make copper wire, no problem. I've got batteries. I just don't know where we build that. It's copper wire. So I need more copper. I need a battery and silicone rubber. It's fine. Take the battery. Copper. Copper. I've got silicone rubber in the other base. If not, I can go ahead and mix everything. It just requires creep vine. Let's see. Well, actually, let's see if I have any. I do. Perfect. Alright, so let's see if I can craft that here. I can make you, but I'm not worried about you. Oh no, you know what? That's gonna be... I know how that's gonna be built.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
I just don't know... if I can build it in here. Okay, it doesn't look like I can build it yet. Okay, I could build the power cell generator, and I could make some more storage units, some different storage units, and then it'll help me. Yeah, no, we're gonna stick to those storage units because they actually work the best. Well, actually, I don't remember what the difference is, like storage wise. Remember, I think that those are a little bigger, but they take up more room, whereas the other storage units, they can build them on the wall. Yeah, we're just gonna stick to the ones I can build on the wall. As soon as I can, there we go. And after we're done here, we're probably gonna have to go titanium farming though. Don't need the gold. Right. So we can build. We got 17. I don't think these affect the integrity, but I don't remember. Just trying to figure out where I want to put them. We're gonna start here. Like right here. And then we can always actually potentially just dismantle the other ones. And said and done here. Well, apparently we need a little more titanium. That's fine. We'll clear out one of the units and dismantle it for the titanium. So now trying to set, while I'm in the process of doing this, just trying to semi-organize stuff. It'll probably change, but it'll change at some point because I just know that. Stash you in there for now too. I know we're gonna need to, and then we're gonna actually eventually have to get this powered up too. Just haven't quite made it there yet. We're gonna end up, this is gonna be a little while. Looks like we're gonna move a lot of stuff around. The knife. It's fine for now. Still gonna have to reorganize everything, but that'll come after I kind of get the base more established. Go, let's see. And now we can actually start putting stuff on the walls too. That's right, I can't hold anymore. Yeah, we're not going to worry about so-called decorating just yet. Right now, we're just putting resources away and moving them around. Let's see. Yep. I find the wall units are easier. They don't hold as much, but I find they're easier because I just have less stuff in the way. And then once we take this last one, take this one off the wall, we will dismantle it. And what we're gonna, oh, now what did I just do? It's fine, we're gonna pull the battery. And we're gonna move you two, just because I don't like you sitting there. It's going to build another wall unit right there. No, we need that because we're gonna put for now we're gonna put this here. And then we're gonna see if no, not that. Yeah, I don't know if I have. I don't know if I have. What do I need? Build the wiring kit. Is it the wiring kit? The advanced wiring kit. Okay, so it's the wiring kit, which requires computer chip, which requires. Should be able to do that. I actually, you know what? Before I go through all that, so I don't have to keep going back and forth. And I make that in here. Let's see. Where is it? Technically, yes, I probably can. Maybe. Just gotta find one titanium. Or no, 2 titanium. Let's see. Copper. I need 1 more piece of quartz. There we go. This way I don't have to go running around everywhere. This is probably gonna move. But for now it can go here. So I need lithium. I need a computer chip, which requires copper. I will need 2 silver. Actually, I don't need 2 silver. I have silver there already. I think that should allow me to do everything I need.
Seek fluid intake.
All right.
Vital signs stabilizing.
So I need 2 lithium and 2 titanium. Yeah, and what we're gonna do is, for now, if we eventually do end up getting a vehicle bay, there will be a lot more reworking on stuff being done. All right. Let's see. I think that can't be built either until we get the vehicle bay. Let's see. We've already been to Q59. Actually, we've already been to everything that's here. All right. So let's go ahead and stash what we don't need stashed real quick, and then let's... Oh, what I don't need on my person real quick. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go clear out the storage unit in here, which is basically this pod is no longer going to be used. It's not necessary. But due to how the game started and how crammed everything was, I needed to build something in the area to be able to keep stuff organized, or be able to progress, rather. I want to put all of them in there, because if I put them all in there, I will not keep any with me. But we still got a ways to go. We're going to have to build like 2 to 3 potential other bases here as well. There. Alright, so there's nothing left here, so this is now deserted, just like the storage lockers underneath it, until I get that recycling center built. Alright. And why do I keep putting the knife in there? Way too important. Just casually throw away. Alright, let's go get some fish for now, so we can power up the reactor. Where? There it is. I had to kind of like relearn where it was again. Haven't been to it in a little while. So right now, all these fish are going to be used for is to power the reactor. It doesn't matter what fish at the moment. They're all just going to power the reactor. Even though we're maintaining for now, I'd rather be ready. Because there's one thing I learned from the other Subnautica. Well, there's a lot I learned from the other Subnautica. And in this game, it's still going to be a challenge. Is to prep and bring as much stuff with you as you can, because when I was building my base as underground and needing to move like my mining resources back and forth, it was a lot of travel, a lot of work, because I didn't properly prep everything, and I would forget things that I needed. All right, let's see. Anything. Still can't do that because I can't make that first item. Alright. I can't make any of these because I don't have those resources yet. Alright. And the flares are infinite. I want to kind of go back to the island and search for the snow stalker, but I'm not equipped for that right now. I would need more food and resources to do so, which I'm currently not. I don't currently have those items available. Alright, so I think what we're going to do here is we are going to go ahead and do a quick save. And we're going to actually take a break for the rest of the night and just go ahead and call it, because it's 10 o'clock now, which is normally when I try to end streams during a work week. So just because I know I didn't, well, I probably did. We're going to save it again. And I will be back on tomorrow around 12 p.m. Eastern to pick up and continue. And that'll be probably a longer stream because I don't have to work in the morning. So I get a little bit more time to be able to go ahead and do things. Just want to call out real quick, thank you to Mr. Doom for the raid tonight, and thanks for everyone hanging out. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Have a good rest of your night.